Hello and welcome back to TF1C, the Formula 1 chat. Little bit of a different set today. We're in the tier list setup. Yeah. We're doing our mid-season driver rankings. As you can see, we have got the tier list from S down to F. We have cutouts of all the drivers here right in front of me that I've just toppled over. We're going to be ranking them all. This should get interesting. We've done some tier lists in the past. Liveries is a bit more, just a bit of a jokey one. This one I think could get heated at times, though, because you're wearing a McLaren shirt and Daniel Ricciardo's not had a great season. But yeah.
There's a few in there that could be interesting.
I think it could be somewhat controversial. So make sure to get your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, get involved. We'll make sure to reply to all of them. We're going to start off, I think this is in reverse championship order, at least roughly. We're going to start off with Alexander Albon. Back in Formula 1 now, from obviously a 1-year hiatus, dropped from Red Bull, back in the Williams team now. That car looks shocking, and Albon's produced some very good drives. I mean, I think Melbourne, where he made the tyres last decades.
The fact he scored points in that car is unbelievable.
Yeah, considering, especially when you compare to his teammate, who...
Good quality at Britain.
Yeah, but that's what puts him down even more. Yeah. He was in 8th, and Russell and co were smashed out, and he still ended up outside the points.
Yeah.
When there's only like 15 runners left.
In terms of Alex, then, I think he's had a decent season.
I'd have him somewhere around this mid-pack. It's not George Russell setting the world alight in the Williams, but he's certainly not here. I'm thinking we can always move it around. I was going to say I'm thinking B. I think B works for Alex Albon. I would consider A for Albon, but I think there's other drivers coming in ahead of him. I think B's fine for now. Could get knocked down to C, depending on where other drivers go. I guess we will see. Right, up next, Nicholas Latifi.
Go Latifi.
I love these cards, by the way. Very nice designs. Very nice. But Latifi, I mean, it's not that much to say, is there? He has had no pace. I mean, the Williams doesn't look good, I'll give him that. But it's a struggle for Nicholas Latifi, it really is.
It has been a struggle. I think he's been last in quality every single, most.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think E and F are a bit harsh. I want to say D.
Really? Yeah, I guess the fact the car literally doesn't move.
Yeah, he's not. He's had a good. He did well in Britain. And it's not like he's been putting it in a wall every week.
I don't think anyone goes F.
No.
I think that's reserved for Mazepin-esque tier performances. Yeah. I think E would be fitting, though. Because I do think he's the worst driver on the grid this season. I think there's any argument to be had there.
Yeah, okay.
So I think he has to be bottom. I think compared to his teammate, I would say Albon has been as close to the top guys as he has Latifi.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Next up should be, it is indeed, Sebastian Vettel. It's not been stunning for Aston Martin, but Vettel just doesn't seem happy with anything at the moment.
I mean, the thing is,
fair enough. I wouldn't be.
I can be biased here with Vettel because what he's doing with his B helmet and what he does
great.
Off track.
I'm going to get up to the championship order.
So the fact he left the drivers' meeting early because he wasn't happy with what they said, and what he openly criticises the Aston Martin.
Yeah.
It's great. In terms of his on-track performances,
I think he's 14th, 15 points, 2 points behind Daniel Ricciardo, a point behind Pierre Gasly. I think it's not been bad from him.
No.
I certainly wouldn't have put Aston Martin this low in the championship.
And I think his because recently Aston Martin 3 double Q1 knockouts in a row.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's surprised every time he gets knocked out in Q1. I'd say C.
He looks really quick at Canada. He's looked really quick at times.
Yeah.
I think it's a little harsh, but I guess the green matches really nicely.
Yeah.
I think that's harsh on Seb. Seb's done really well this year, but the car just doesn't look to be...
Yeah, but I'm comparing to Albon and what Albon's...
With him. In slower machinery. Equally, Seb has scored like 15 points.
Yeah, that's Sebastian Vettel. He's a 4-time world champion. He's an
F1 I guess.
Legend.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon he would have been on perhaps double that if Aston Martin didn't completely cock up his Canada qualifying, because he looked really quick. I mean, last weekend, I guess recency bias was playing into it, but last weekend was really horrible for Seb. He was literally at the back of the grid on pace. Couldn't really do anything in the race. He certainly has done better
than
this man, though. is Lance Stroll.
Jesus, don't even.
Only Latifi is lower than him in the championship, and of course Nico Hülkenberg. That's another thing we didn't mention with Seb. Of course, he missed the first 2 rounds of this season, which getting up to grips with a new car is obviously
Do you want to move him
very
into
big.
Bond?
Yeah, I'm putting him next to Albon.
Go on, Seb V.
Especially because I don't... Right, Lance Stroll...
Is shit.
It's not been stunning for Lance by any stretch.
No, he's been outperformed by a Williams, a rookie to the grid.
Yeah.
I think he's got to be down there with Latifi.
He's got 3 points. I think that just demonstrates how slow the Aston is. I don't think he's on E.
D.
I think he is D, though. I think that's it's been tough for Lance. I like Lance. I know a lot of people hate him just because he's like, dad's money. I don't think I don't like Lawrence, but I like Lance.
What Stroll and Latifi have, which is bad for them, is they have Albon and Seb who are proving what you can do in that car.
I mean, the disparity already in the tier list isn't helping out their cause. But
no.
Yeah, it's not been great for either of Lance or Latifi, but I do think I don't think Latifi will be on the grid next season. Lance obviously will, because his dad literally owns the team. But
I don't think Latifi can be on that grid.
No, surely not.
Especially with people like Piastri.
Unless Safina find
Dragovic.
oil money below their factories and they can fund him for the next 10 years, I think he will struggle for a seat.
Yeah.
Next up, Yuki Tsunoda. This is an interesting one, Yuki. It's a very interesting one.
He's done better than his teammate this season.
He's not above him points-wise anymore.
Oh, okay.
Gasly's gone 5 points ahead of him.
I don't think... Okay, scat points, I think he's been better than Gasly this season.
I think, yes, started very well. Last 5 rounds, they've had 4 non-points finishes AlphaTauri. That is not very good.
No.
I remember back to the pre-season predictions. I said that AlphaTauri would be, I think,
second,
3rd and 6th in the championship or something like that.
You thought it
hasn't materialised. I thought Adrian Newey will nail it and AlphaTauri will copy. Evidently, it's harder to copy teams now, and I think without being able to copy Red Bull's design, it's a lot tougher for AlphaTauri. Yeah. A lot tougher.
Yuki, obviously, he's done a lot better than he did last season.
He's had some good results, he's had some good drives, and I would add another 10 points to his tally, because Azerbaijan was not his fault. The rear wing just cracked, and he lost 10 points there. If we're looking at Yuki Tsunoda on 26 points, in 11th in the championship, 3 points behind Alonso in an Alpine, you're looking at a good season. So I think obviously luck plays its part, and I guess you could say, well, he's got lucky other times, he's got unlucky there. But I think that was a huge disappointment, because that's not anyone's fault in that situation.
No.
Oh, obviously whoever constructed the railway in such a flimsy manner.
Season for him, I'd say C.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can put. I guess I was gonna say I don't know how you can put Seb above him, but
I think you can. I
guess the slower car and the fact he's on more points. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Right, next up. Pierre Gasly. This is an interesting one. I was going to say, I think he has to be below Yuki Tsunoda.
100%. I think it's had a bad season.
Because I really like Pierre Gasly. He's clearly a very talented driver, and he's being outperformed at the moment by Yuki. Mm-hmm. Gasly's got, 5 years in F1 now?
He's being outperformed
4
by Daniel
years?
Ricciardo as well.
4 years, right, in F1?
Yeah.
Yeah, Toro Rosso 2018,
I would have
Red Bull half of 2019, and then AlphaTauri since then.
I would have expected better from Gasly.
Yeah, it's just not been good enough from Pierre. I had him up there for the championship, really fighting for it. But it's just not really materialised. I think for me,
I'm gonna say top of D.
I was gonna say D ahead of Lance.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's had a worse season than Lance. He has still got 16 points. If you look at this points wise, Gasly's outperformed Yuki. But considering his experience and the fact he is a Formula 1 race winner,
and Yuki Tsunoda,
I think Gasly needs to be performing better. He should be having his eyes on a Formula 1 seat for next year. If he performed this year like he did last year, without a shadow of a doubt he has that McLaren seat. I think the fact he's not performed to that standard is the reason they're not looking at him directly to replace Lando Alonso. Next up, Mick Schumacher. If you asked me this 3 weeks ago, I think I'd give a very different answer to now. Does that say a lot about his season?
I don't know, because the thing is, I think Yes, he scored.
I don't want
points in
recency
Austria.
bias to
Yes,
have
he
a huge
scored.
impact here because obviously Austria and Britain were really, really strong for
But then I
him.
also look at the races like Miami where he was in the points.
And then he
I look at
piled into the side of Vettel.
Where he was in that. I think Mick Schumacher's a very quick driver.
I think he's a good driver.
I think he's also had a good season.
I don't think he's stunning. But he has had a decent season, yeah, I agree with that.
I'm not expecting too much though. He has recently though. He's driven.
I would put him
top ahead of Yuki.
I was going to say between Albon and Vettel.
Okay, so Mr. Oh, okay. Don't recency bias.
Yeah, okay.
I think if you look at the whole season,
he's behind Vettel on points. That is a lot quicker. Yeah, fair enough. He's only a point ahead of Yuki, but
I definitely by the end of the season that could be a lot higher.
Yeah, it depends on whether he can push on. If he can use the platform he's built himself in the last 2 rounds as a springboard into France and Hungary, then potentially we're looking at some very good points finishes there. Right, next up is his teammate, Kevin Magnussen.
Wow.
Very impressive from K-Mag. Didn't have an F1 seat until a week before the start of the season.
For Kevin Magnussen.
He scored points in Bahrain, right?
Yeah.
He's done very well this season, K-Mag. He's on 22 points. I think roughly best of the rest. He's only behind the Merc, the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, then Lando Norris, who's dragged that McLaren very high, Bottas, who's done very well in the Alfa Romeo, and the Alpine. So I think K-Mag's really the best he could get, because I think that Alpine looks really quick at times. I think the McLaren looks really quick at times. I think the Haas is now starting to get involved in that midfield battle because it's got upgrades coming in France. So I think the prospects for Haas look really good. I would have K-Mag just above Albon and Vettel in B. You looking at A?
I was going to say A.
You know what, go on then. We can always move him down later.
I think it's been a fantastic return. The fact he didn't think he'd be racing in F1 this season, he goes into the new car, new regulations, hasn't driven for 2 years, and destroys half the grid.
Yeah.
I think it's very fantastic.
Very, very good. Yeah.
K-Mag.
When you put it like that, it does sound very good. Next up, Valtteri Bottas.
I mean, consistent.
Wow.
We talked about recently, consistent until the last 3-4 races.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened.
I've been stunned, if I'm honest, by his season. I really thought he'll go to Alfa Romeo, he'll start to just do a Kimi. He'll score somewhat regular points, get around the 10th mark, but other than that, he won't really he'll have a few highlight moments here and there, but other than that, not much. He's been consistent, at least at times he was consistently 5th, 4th, around that area. 46 points compared to his teammates 5th. I know Zhou Guan Yu's a rookie, and Valtteri has
years and
13 years? No, not quite that.
I was going to say
9 years of experience in Formula 1?
Yeah, I mean, he spent donkey's years in that Mercedes.
2013 sounds about right. No, I think he did 2 years in the Williams, so it would have been 2014. So about 8 years. Anyway, a lot of years in Formula 1 now for Valtteri Bottas. I think he's got to be... I mean, he's done really well this season, 46 points. Hasn't quite managed to get on the podium, but I think he's been as close as possible to that podium. I think Imola was a good result, wasn't it? Yeah, P5 there for Bottas. That's 10 of his 46 points. He's had some really good races this season. That's very consistent pace. Where would you have him roughly?
I'm going to say top of B.
Yeah, I don't...
I think he's below K. He's ahead of Albon and Vettel. Just because obviously he's got...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, but I would have him there.
Go on then.
I think.
I just want him below K-Mag because K-Mag, what K-Mag's done in what I think is a slower car, and obviously Bottas has been driving for Merc for years upon years.
Yeah, but then surely you argue that he takes longer to adjust to a slower car, whereas K-Mag obviously most recently drove the same team. He only took a year out.
Yeah, but he took a year out, but still that.
Same as Alex
Bottas
Albon.
is an experienced F1 driver.
Yeah, okay.
So is K-Mag, but not as experienced.
Right. Next up, Bottas' teammate, Zhou Guan Yu. Of course, a rookie to Formula 1 this season. He's got very unlucky with reliability.
Crashes.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much he could do about Silverstone, was there? He was in the points, and then suddenly he was flung over a tyre barrier. Tyre wall.
Yeah, I've been really impressed.
It's 5 points, more than Alex Albon, more than Lance Stroll.
More than Latifi.
more obviously, I forgot he was a driver.
Only
6 points behind Yuki Tsunoda, who's got a year of experience ahead of him.
Obviously, everyone was a bit annoyed and surprised that it was Zhou Guanyu and not Oscar Piastri. But I think he's had a great season. He's come into the sport as a rookie. He scored points in his first race. His first 3 results were P10, P11, P11. And obviously he's got 4 more points since then.
Yeah, there we go. Just making sure the whole thing was in view. Yeah, Zhou's done really well this season.
Yeah.
I think, maybe there's other times he should have scored points. The Alfa Romeo has looked really quick.
Yeah.
Just the 5 points. He has got very unlucky with the reliability, though, as we've mentioned. I would go, I think, ahead of Yuki, but below Mick.
Go on then, yeah.
Because I think as much as, he's had a good year, there's been a few... Obviously, reliability, you can't really do anything about.
No.
But equally, I think that's fine for Zhou. We can always move him around later at the end if we want. Next up, on to the big boys now. First of which, Lando Norris.
The fact he's got a podium in that car is unbelievable.
I was going to say, I think the car is horrific this year.
Yeah, that car is dog shit.
This is a bit of a bold shout, but I think he's one of 3 drivers I'd have in S tier. Oh, what's the facial expression, Harry? What are you thinking?
High. I think that's very
really.
High. I think yes, he's done well. I think he's done that well. I
think that McLaren looks horrific.
I'd say bottom of A.
Yeah.
Or between K-Mag and Bottas.
He's the only non-Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes driver to take a podium.
Go on then, put him top of A.
For now, obviously.
I think
there's...
That's S, not top of A.
So, sorry, yeah. I think it's a S tier season.
I don't think he does. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see in a minute.
I think Lando's been stunning this year, especially compared to this guy, Daniel Ricciardo.
The car is a bad car.
It's
got some...
It begs the question, is it a horrific car and Lando's doing insane, which means he should be S tier? Or is it a fine car and Lando's performing as to standard and Daniel Ricciardo's just having a stinker?
I really hope it's a shit car, for Daniel's sake.
That's what I'm thinking. I think Lando's just massively outperforming the car at the moment.
I love Daniel Ricciardo, though.
Yeah, but he is having a very bad season. Like, there is no way he's not in this...
I have to say bottom of C.
Bottom of C? How are you putting him ahead of Gasly?
He's got more points.
1 more point.
Yeah, and...
That is disgraceful.
Have you not
putting on the same level as the likes of Mick and Zhou.
Top of D.
I think he's below Gasly.
I don't think he is.
I think the McLaren, is quicker than the AlphaTauri.
Not that Red Bull engine.
I don't think the Red Bull engine makes that much difference.
It does.
The AlphaTauri looks shocking.
Oh, I know Gasly have reliability problems as well.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
I think only Lance and Latifi have been worse than Ricciardo this year. And I know that Aston's bad. I think he could be here. I think potentially even just ahead of Latifi in E.
Oh no,
a lot of people people would be saying down in E.
That's no.
Which I think is harsh, but Ricciardo has really struggled this year.
Can we move on, please?
I do like the decent field spread here.
I don't want to look at it.
We've got everyone quite spread apart. There's no teammates yet that have both performed on a par.
Well, bottom of C and top of D.
Yeah, but they look far apart. Next up, the very pink looking card, because I could only find the Alpine logo in blue, so we had to go pink background. So very pink looking card for Fernando Alonso. An up and down year for Alonso. When he's been at his best, he's looked really good. I think a few moments this season have cost him dearly, which weren't really his fault. Australia was a crash.
No, it
was the
cut out, didn't it?
Yeah, the engine cut out. And that he would have been up there. Canada, he was on the podium, and then I think there was a strategy cock-up from the team. Yeah, that cost him there. Alonso could be looking at another 30 points there, which then puts him on 59, and you go in S tiers and stuff.
Yeah.
I think at the moment though, 29 points, 10th in the championship. I think he's got to be behind Bottas.
Really?
He's got to be, he's got 17 less points.
Top B.
I'd have him below Albon ahead of Vettel. What? Actually, ahead of Albon. Because Alonso has looked...
Yeah, he's on the front row this season.
Yeah, fair enough. He's had a good year. He's just been very, very unlucky with the incidents that have come for Fernando Alonso. Yeah. Next up, Esteban Ocon. For me, S-tier. What a campaign Ocon's had. 52 points so far. Only Lando, Norris, and then of course the top 3 teams have performed ahead of him. I think he's got to be in one of these two because he's not been on the level. He's been on a different level to Fernando Alonso.
A between Lando and K-Mag.
Below, I guess that McLaren is terrific. That's why I'd put Lando up on S.
Go on then, put Lando on S.
Because I think
Ocon top of A.
I think he's there, but we'll wait for the other drivers later on. I think that is the perfect position for Ocon. Yeah. He's had a really good campaign, but I don't think he's quite on the level of Lando. Lando in that McLaren looks really good, especially at the start of this season at least. And starting to get back into the groove of things now. Ricciardo as well scored points in Austria, but we're not talking about him anymore. I think K-Mag and Bottas have done well, but I think Ocon's done very, very well. Next up then. Who have we got? It is the start of the top 3 teams. We have George Russell, Mr. Consistent, up until his home race, where he, flipped Guan Yu Zhou through the air.
It's consistent. It's decent.
Is it better than Valtteri Bottas? Because I would say yes.
I would put him in between Ocon and K-Mag.
I think potentially ahead of Ocon.
Yeah, I guess just the consistency.
He's 19 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who was fighting for a world championship last season. He's 5 points behind Carlos Sainz. I think that Ferrari is easily the quickest car. I know Sainz has reliability issues, but then he's also had spins and stuff this season. Russell, as much as I've not seen him make an overtake yet, has had a good campaign. He has just consistently been the points.
Got in top of A.
So, I would have him. I'd shift these along. And slot George Russell in there. You checking the time? I could see you peering over or something. Right. We have 5 to go. This is where it gets interesting. Next up, Lewis Hamilton. See, I think if you're looking at this from the last few rounds, 3 podiums in 3 races, you're going, oh, what a season for Lewis. But I was going to say, I'm thinking back to Saudi. Bahrain took a podium. But Saudi Arabia, trundling around in 14th. Imola, similar scenes. He was 13th, couldn't pass Gasly. I think he's had a mixed campaign. Starting to go very well now. But the fact he's behind George Russell in the championship...
I'd say in between Alonso and Albon.
Really? That low? I was going to go between K-Mag and Bottas.
Go on then.
I think he's... Because, for me, the Haas is absolutely nowhere near the Mercedes. But it's really hard to compare because we're not in equal machinery here. No. But relatively, that Magnussen has performed better in that Haas than Lewis in the Mercedes, especially in the first half of the season. Because as much people might say, the Mercedes is horrific, Russell's been top 5 every race other than Silverstone. So it can't be that bad.
No.
But then Lewis has second podiums as well, so he's done all right. Next up, Carlos Sainz. Again, recency bias could play a factor here. Obviously, Austria, who was cruelly denied us probably a second place. The Ferrari looked really quick that day by an engine problem. He's had
first win
quite a lot of podiums. He did take the win in Britain. Indeed.
Top of A.
But then he has also made a lot of mistakes, Carlos Sainz.
Top of A.
The spin at Imola.
Top of A.
The spin at Australia.
Top of A.
Was this out of Spain? He spun in Spain, didn't he? As well, into the gravel trap. That was 3 spins that have cost him massively this season. Then, of course, he took out the Imola race. That wasn't really his fault, but the spinning quality definitely was.
Top of A.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you can have him ahead of George Russell.
Okay, in between Russell and Ocon then.
I don't think he's outperformed Ocon either. I would have him between Ocon and K-Mag.
Go on then.
Because as much as he's took his first win, I don't think, other than that, he's done that brilliantly. Like,
Okay.
I know obviously he's been caught out by reliability, but he's had as many DNFs. Well, Ferrari have had 4, Red Bull have had 4. So it's at level there. He's only 5 points ahead of George Russell.
Yeah.
And that Mercedes was nowhere at the start of this season. So there's my logic there. Anyway, next up, Charles Leclerc. Quite an easy one.
Top.
Definitely here. I think there's only one driver that's going to come ahead of him.
I don't think there is.
You don't?
No, I do. Oh, yeah, I do.
Interesting. Leclerc second in the championship at the moment. I think if reliability wasn't a factor, I think it wouldn't be as close, potentially. Because
It was hard because both Max and Leclerc have had engine problems, so I think it'll be around the same.
Yeah, they've both had 2, so 2 apiece now.
So I think Max obviously would have got more in Bahrain and Australia. Leclerc would have got more in Baku and where else did he blow up? Baku.
Where's the other one?
God.
Spain.
Spain, yeah.
From the lead. Yeah, I mean, obviously strategy's played a part, but then equally you can defy what your team says. We've seen that Carlos Sainz doing that this season. So, you could argue that maybe Leclerc should be more. Is the word affirmative?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, Max tells Red Bull what he
assertive,
wants.
I guess. Yeah, and also Red Bull get it right.
Yeah.
So that does help.
The strategy in Monaco. Christ.
I don't know what Ferrari are up to there, but that cost Leclerc a home win.
Yeah.
Even a podium, wasn't even on there in the end.
No.
So there have been moments like that. I think in terms of outright pace, quali pace, no one's anywhere near Charles Leclerc at the moment.
No.
Max, for some reason, just can't seem to get the car dialed in for a lap.
No.
I always think that Ferrari is quicker at the moment, though. So I am taking that into fact. People saying, they're level or the Red Bull's quicker. It just isn't. Look at the closing speeds that Ferrari had at Austria. At times, the Red Bull has looked quicker this season. But right now, the Ferrari's faster.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was in Britain. I think it was in Austria as well. Next up, Sergio Perez.
Esther.
Yeah?
Took his first pole this year. Won the Monaco race. Has been a perfect backup to Verstappen.
I'm trying to think if he's made any mistakes. There was the qualifying in
Canada.
Canada.
That was it. And we know he's not good in the rain.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be S tier between Leclerc and Lando.
There was Austria where I think he should have been more conservative. Or is that reserved, I guess, opening lap?
No, but I think his instruction from Red Bull would have been like Hamilton.
Yeah, but there's places you do it. You get it done
no.
into turn 3. You don't try and go around the outside of 4 because we've seen that doesn't work.
I think his instruction was to get ahead of Russell because I think Red Bull knew.
Yeah, but it's not
I think Russell. If Red Bull doesn't get past, I think Red Bull knew if he doesn't.
Quite the pace disparity in the
I
cars.
think if Red Bull knew that if Checo didn't get past him, then Ferrari would have won the race, which they did because he wasn't there. If he hadn't got past Russell,
yeah, but I think they'd rather him chill,
not
not pass
been
Russell.
10 seconds back.
He
It'd
wouldn't
been
have.
pointless.
He would have got him literally into turn 3 on the next lap,
Don't think he would have.
or maybe even into turn 1.
Don't know who he would have.
I think he would have, but
I'm still saying S.
he should have learned from his friends before. Anyway, he has had a very good year. He has took a win this season at Saudi Arabia.
And Monaco.
Was his win? Oh no, he was on the.
Monaco. It's Monaco.
Where's take his wins?
It's Monaco.
Yeah, he didn't win Saudi. He did win Monaco. Yeah, that's his one win. I do think the fact he's only picked up
pole in Saudi.
a single win is interesting.
Don't think it makes not when Verstappen and Leclerc on the grid. Because Sainz only picked up one win.
Yeah, I mean the fact that we have only had 4 race winners this year. Because as much as people say close racing, I think there's a bigger disparity now between the top and the bottom of the grid.
Yeah.
I think that's demonstrated by the fact we've only seen 7. Yeah, I would have...
Between Leclerc and Lando.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'd move all 3 of them back for the next man.
Okay. Right, if the pit stop boys are out there, you can start jamming to your song, because here we go. Cheers time, everybody. Last but certainly not least, your current championship leader, Max Verstappen. I think he was better last season than he was this year.
Oh yeah, because he had much more to fight for. And but also he didn't get taken out in Britain.
Yeah. Well,
he did.
To say, not by Hamilton this year, by a piece of Tsunoda's front wing. Or Gasly's. We don't know which AlphaTauri it was.
I think, but you can never. He's led the championship. He's fought really well, Leclerc, and I think his experience from last year is really helping him this year.
Because in terms of mistakes, Spain he spun, but we saw Sainz make the same thing. That seemed to be more of the wind. And these cars
we can't say
just
that,
blowing around.
You put it down as a science mistake.
Okay,
so it's a
Verstappen mistake. The one mistake for Verstappen, but he recovered to win that race, and obviously it was helped out by the Leclerc DNF.
His quality hasn't been too great.
No, I think it's certainly been a step down from last year. I think he's still adapting to this car, but the fact he's still adapting to the car and he's still that far, as in this fight, obviously he's leading by 30-something points.
His pace...
Austria?
No.
I don't think the Red Bull had any pace in Austria.
I was going to say, where was he? He had exceptional. One of the race
Imola, he looks stunning in the wet. But if it rains, Max Verstappen will win.
Apart from Britain and Canada, he didn't take pole in either of them.
Well,
I know Britain tried out, didn't it?
Well, both of them, there was incidents which hampered him on his lap. Wasn't there?
What one in Canada?
Canada was... I'm trying to remember.
Canada.
Was it an engine failure?
No.
Or was it just a poor lap?
Canada was just a poor lap. And obviously Britain...
I thought it got hold up. Britain was Leclerc spinning around in the gravel.
Yeah. Okay, chuck him in the top of S tier.
Yeah, a very, very good season. I don't think there's...
I think it's just something with those three in the top three of the championship. Yeah,
if Leclerc was top of the championship, I'd put him ahead of Max, but he's not. And Sainz, if it was based off the last 4 rounds, would be here. But I'm taking his whole season into consideration. He has made a lot of mistakes. There were the first 4 races, people were saying, Carlos isn't good enough. People were questioning his talent, his ability. I don't think then you can go, well, actually, he's been stunning, it's like my finesse him, because there has been moments where he's been around the Daniel Ricciardo levels of underperformance.
Okay, that's a bit far.
Yeah, no one's been that bad. Other than Latifi. So our full tier list of... Is there anything you want to change quickly? No. It does look very top heavy. I will be honest.
They've all good seasons.
Potentially moving Bottas under here just to...
sure, do it.
Level it out a little bit. I think that it just looks more aesthetically pleasing.
Go on then.
Right then, the tier list is perfectly shot. Running through it all in S tier, we have Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, and Lando Norris. Then in A tier, we have George Russell, Esteban Ocon, Carlos Sainz, Kevin Magnussen, and Lewis Hamilton. In B tier, Bottas, Alonso, Albon, and Vettel. C tier, Schumacher, Zhou, Tsunoda. Quite an interesting mix there of the rookies of the last 2 years. And then in D, we have Gasly, Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo. It makes a lot of sense. And then in E, the sole driver in E is Nicholas Latifi. I'll be honest, I think this says a lot about what drivers won't be on the grid next year. I'm looking at you, Latifi. The others should all be here. I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to retire yet, but yes, we will see. That's all for today, though. If you disagree or agree with anything of our tier lists, get that involved in the comments below. Give your own thoughts, rank the drivers, as many or as little as you want in the comments. Give us your thoughts and stuff. Make sure to like as well if you have enjoyed. It massively helps us out. It tells not only us you love our content, but also the algorithm. And they recommend us to the billions of people out there who also should watch our content. So yeah, that would be great. Thank you all very much for watching though. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.